And these now are just little rocks in the water. Using the same mix as those rocks on the left hand side, predominantly ultramarine and burnt umber. And then a green mix, dark green mix, just to suggest a little moss and what have you growing on top of them. So I just want to try and define that waterfall a bit better now. I'm not very happy with it. I need what I want to try and do is sort of darken it and then try and use a tissue to try and get a sort of water effect, or sort of, rather than use just the white of the paper, I'm sort of darkening it and then taking the paint off with a damp brush. Here I'm using a number 3 rigger, and then taking the paint off with a tissue to try and get a better effect. And again, the waterfall, I mean, it still doesn't quite look right, so I'm going to try and darken it. But that's not quite dark enough, so still not happy with the waterfall. So it's back to the hike, getting some much darker colour now, much darker, and then what I'll do is basically just mess about with it until I can get it to look right. Again, back to the tissue, putting it on and then sort of taking it off with the tissue until I can get it to look like a waterfall. So I've switched to the 3/4 inch flat now, damping that and then just using it sort of sideways up and down, because it's got a bit more clout than the rigger. You can see it's starting to look a bit more like a waterfall. Now I've got some sort of darker areas in amongst the white sort of misty water as it's coming down, and then I'm going up into the again clean damp brush, going up with the and just wetting the paint at the bottom of those rocks on the left hand side, and then just damping and soaking it up with a tissue, and you can see how it creates this sort of nice watery spray effect back into the waterfall, trying to model it a bit more, and then at the bottom really taking out plenty of paint just to try and get that misty water effect as it splashes up. splashes right up off the bottom. And then again, in amongst all the rocks, because obviously as the water's crashing down and coming through the picture, it's splashing all over the place. But it's a very simple method, but it's quite effective. Just damp the secret is to get it on dark initially, because the darker you can get the rocks, the more effective the white misty water will look. Before I go any further, I just want to make sure it's nice and dry. But what I want to do now is I just want to redo that edge, just so to make it really crisp. You can see how by making that foreground rock dark, how well it contrasts against the white spray behind it. And again, back to the 3/4 inch flat. Just dampening the brush, not too much water on the brush, just enough to loosen the paint, which you need to take off with a tissue. Make sure that's dry again. I mean, if you've got the patience, you can use masking fluid to create the same similar sort of effect. I always prefer to sort of put it on dark and then take the paint off. I just think it just looks better personally. So all that's left to do now is take the number 3 rigger, pop your signature in the corner. Remember not to right next to the edge, because otherwise you won't see it once the mount's on. And that's another finished painting.